This week on Altered Geek Unleashed, we talk about Back to the Future, Batman vs. Superman, Arrow, Gotham, Krypton, The Flash, YouTube Red, and more. All coming up on Altered Geek Unleashed.
You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek Unlimited.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek Unleashed. I'm your host Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me this week is the burping Michael.
Yes, that's right.
Which that's not very, descriptive until you start speaking, because there's two Michaels that do that.
Yeah, normally. Well, the other one usually
Canada,
says some other weird, like his opening usually is AIDS.
Or something to that
Something
degree.
to that effect. Yeah.
Or I have munchkins, or something.
All I can think of is oh man, if I had some Dunkin' Donuts right about now, I'd be in heaven.
So yeah, what's been new with you?
You really want me to answer that question?
Well, let's do the Reader's Digest clean version, because I know there's been a lot.
No. There's nothing. There's no controversy this week, thank God. But
no, we're on actual fun this week.
Yeah. So, as most people will know, I haven't been on the show in a while, other than the last couple episodes, because I was dealing with 3 other people living with me. That's just the way it had to go after my mom passed away. So recording times were always really tricky, and I had to work around it, and sometimes stuff still happened to, whatever. And since then, since about September 24th or 22nd, I don't know, whatever, this year, I finally found an actual apartment complex that is income-based. It's actually a HUD-based apartment, and it's a nice complex and all that. I love the apartment itself, except for the fact that it's here in Louisville, Kentucky right now. It's anywhere between 67 and 72 degrees outside in frigging October. It should be close to 45 to 57 degrees right now. Inside the apartment, it's 83 degrees. So the thing with it being a HUD-based apartment, they only allow you certain times of the year when the seasons change. They switch from air to heat, or in the summer they'll switch from I said that from heat to air. So right now, as of 3 or 4 days ago, it was time to switch over to the heat. So they only let you have one or the other. And even with my windows open and my fan going, I am still burning up. It's just, oh God. Not that I'm doing this because I do have clothes on, but at this point, it would be like a sauna in here if I was just sitting here podcasting naked. Not that I do that, but it's just one of those things where TMI. Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying it's one of those things where it doesn't matter what I do. I mean, I could go get in the shower and just have a cold shower for the next 2 hours, and I'd still be burning up. I told you off air, I'd gladly take 10 ice bucket challenges at the same time right now to cool off. So that's partially what's been going on. What else has been going on? I'm getting the pull bag. I'm not promoting it right now, but I'm getting it back on track. I got to work on getting remote control back on track. I'm very slowly getting back into the game of the podcasting and the written reviews and all that stuff, and it's just taking me time because it's just some days where I just don't have any motivation to do anything productive whatsoever, which really sucks because I want to do it, but it's just in the back of my mind. It's like, yeah, no, I don't want to do it today. So, I don't know.
As for myself, I was having a good week.
Uh-oh.
Well, I should say that I am still having a good week. But we ran into some issues on the website.
Yeah.
And it started with one little problem, and then I attempted to fix one little problem, and it became a huge problem because of something with the database is like foobarred, and it technically needs to be replaced from the ground up, and I don't really feel like putting that kind of work into it right now. And after about 6 hours of messing with it, I fixed it enough. For some reason, the slider still doesn't work. And the menus don't work the way that they did, but there's a different feature to it now. So, I mean, I guess I'll have to wait on that. But I got the rest of it working fine.
Right.
And I had to do a little modification to the place of the slider. But for some reason, when I fixed the slider, all the images on the website disappeared. And I couldn't figure out why. And then I was messing with various versions of the site because I have template versions, like demo versions, sitting around in case I need to play with it and see how I can manipulate the code and whether I need to fix this or that or whether it's going to work. And it's something with this particular, the fact that the auto install is where it's at and the database and all that. So I think I would have to completely purge it.
Right.
And redo the whole thing, which would suck. So I'm avoiding that actively right now. Mm-hmm. So that being said, I think it's also because I installed them on 2 different subdomains instead of folders. So that's part of why I'm screwed. But that being said, I got my teacher onto a 1 hour tangent today on Star Wars.
Oh, awesome.
So, yeah, I was talking about episode 7 and 8 since the trailer came out, and so we were talking about it, and the teacher overheard me, and he says, "What?" And he stood up, and then he had to, like, interject into the conversation, so I was, like, essentially doing a podcast in class, which was hilarious, because nobody else in the class was talking, it was just me and him going back and forth. So it was kind of entertaining because I managed to keep him going for an hour. With the ulterior motive was to not have to watch a documentary at the end of class. This was the prime goal, and I told somebody in class because once I hooked him, and it wasn't intentional, he butted in on my conversation with another student. So once I hooked him, I kept that gravy train rolling. And so we were talking about Star Wars and the fact that there's rumors because Hayden Christensen's been spotted as far as like episode 8.
Yeah.
And that 8's been greenlit and everything. And he's like, oh, they haven't even said anything about 8. And I'm like, do you check social media? I'm like, because they have. I'm like, they're plotting it out right now. And I says, there's castings and everything. I says, and then Christensen's been spotted on the island, and the one that Luke's supposed to be on.
Right.
And so we were going back and forth for about half hour on Star Wars itself. Then it became a thing about Lucasfilms, and then he got into how Lucas revolutionized. Basically, he made it so that we no longer did film; we did the digital. Because he had one of the first movies,
right?
Actually, the first movie, which was episode 2, which is why it looks so horrible. But he made the first movie that was all digitally done. Not a bit of it was done on film. And the interesting part of this whole thing was we got through all of that and how Lucas has helped revolutionize the whole thing and get us to a state where like normal people like me or you could get just a regular camera and record a film with it,
right?
Over having to pay obscene amount. So what happened is then we got into the Abramisms, which was just delight to me. He can't stand him either. I don't know. He said because he's saying in film. Okay. Because in as far as his sci-fi work anyway. Okay. Because Abrams is a filmophile. In other words, he does not like shooting digitally. He likes shooting on film, which granted, they have about the same technology level now because you can still shoot film quality or higher. But because Abrams likes it, like it's a throwback thing for him, he likes it, he won't do it. So essentially you have Star Wars 4, 5, 6 shot on film because there was no other option. And then you have 1, 2, 3 shot digitally because that's what Lucas did.
Right.
And then 7, 8, 9, well, at least 7 is going to be all film because Abrams doesn't do digital. So essentially you're taking a back seat to that. And then we were talking about how Abrams is either going to make or break this movie. Like, I mean, it's going to do great at the box office.
Dude, it doesn't even need, at this point, it doesn't even need to do great at the box office. The damn ticket sales, we're 2 months away from the film's release. The damn ticket sales broke Fandango.
Well, that's not even the only site. Like, they broke...
I know, but that's the biggest one.
Yeah, it crashed Fandango, it crashed AMC, it crashed... there's multiple, like, there's 3 major movie chains, like the Alamo Drafthouse, I guess, and AMC Theaters and Fandango were the main ones. And the service was spotty because so many people were on it. And they've already sold, I think, what was it? Kevin posted something earlier in the week. And it was like...
it's like 6.5 million or something, or 6...
it wasn't even... what was it? It was actually... he had something that said how many times more.
Oh, yeah.
The Force Awakens had 6 times IMAX pre-sale of Avengers, 8 times the first day sales of Hunger Games, crashed. Oh, and it was movieticket.com that crashed too.
Right.
So, like, you combine all of that, and I'm loving these memes that are flying around right now that say, you know, oh, #1 movie of the year until the next movie, because, like, Age of Ultron said that.
Yeah.
And then Jurassic World says, basically the same thing, but it says, you know, we're the #1, and then it's got Han saying, that's cute, you know, you're just the layup to to what we're doing, you know. I mean, so it's hilarious watching that transpire. And the trailer was freaking badass, don't get me wrong.
The trailer was badass. And, you know, just to go back just a minute about JJ, you know, I know a lot of people probably don't watch this show anymore or didn't watch this show at the time, but the guy comes from being the executive producer on Felicity, being the executive producer on Alias. I mean, those are 2 damn good television shows. And then, you know, say what you will about Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness. According to IMDb, he's listed as an executive producer on Beyond and Star Trek 4 in 2019.
Yeah, well, he's going to be a producer.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. He's a producer.
But I could care less.
I know.
Like, the Star Trek films, because we even talked about that in class, about how he's basically ruined them.
Yeah.
Well. And I've gone into that a million times. I'm not jumping on that soapbox.
The first film was
okay. Like, it was good as far as, like, a standalone.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's still doing a callback to the original crew.
Yeah.
Instead of making a new crew, kind of like what Star Trek Renegades has done. They have a couple callbacks to, like, the secondary type characters.
Right. Of
all of these different casts. And, yeah, they're in it, but it's the main focus is on the new people.
Right.
So, like, that, I mean, they're getting people they're actually picking up speed on that. Like, they've got, you know, people from DS9, more from Voyager. They got more from, like, all these different, like, TNG and everything else, like, jumping on board to this project.
Yeah.
So, essentially, it could, you know, be the next Star Trek that takes place in the regular universe. But, but yeah, I mean, we talked about, you know, the stuff with that. And then we were talking about film companies needing tent poles. And I made this comment of, I'm sick of seeing sequels, you know, up-teen sequels, you know, of everything. And he says, you know, think about it this way. He says, that's just the way of the beast now. He says, because the way the money works. And he says they could be, you know, terrible movies, but if they bank, you know, it's a tentpole, you know, and that's why they keep making more. Like,
just look at Paranormal Activity. I mean, that franchise.
Yeah, look at that. You got Fast and the Furious, you got Transformers, you got, I'm not saying they're bad, I'm just saying just tent poles in general. And then you've got, Jurassic.
Universal Pictures. What else do they have right now other than the Fast and Furious? Like, what other big franchise does Universal have other than Fast and Furious?
Park. Jurassic Park.
Okay, well, yeah, though. One movie in how long since the third film had come out? 20?
Well, they're going to make another trilogy.
Okay, well, that's fine.
So that's what I'm saying is like these tentpole series, and then because we were listing them by company, like Paramount has Transformers, has G.I. Joe, has Ninja Turtles, has Star Trek, and then you look at Marvel or like Disney. Disney had no tentpoles. They had because they were trying to bank on that John Carter and the Lone Ranger as being new tentpoles to replace Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff like that, and between that and some of the failed sequel Pixar films, I'm looking at you, Cars 2. And,
Shut up.
And Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Hey.
Of the
I know
the Pixar variety, and then all these unnamed Pixar films that just nobody cared about. And this is before they had Frozen and announcement of Toy Story 4 or Incredibles 2 and whatnot. But they went out and they bought Marvel and they bought Lucasfilm, so they had these new major tentpoles that could hold up Disney now. And Warner Brothers really doesn't have anything left because Harry Potter's gone, Lord of the Rings is gone, and so the only thing they got left to fall back on is Batman
or Superman.
Well, they've already put Superman on a lower pedestal because they've turned Batman vs. Superman, or v Superman, into basically the Batman show, and then the next one's going to be the Justice League because they're even dropping images of that now, of showing Ben Affleck in the bat suit, kneeling down on the ground, on having come through a ceiling. It looks like, and it looks pretty badass. It looks very comic-y Batman instead of the crap we've been given over the last 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, you've had Altered Geek for almost 2.5 years now. You started with the BS that is BVS, and I still to this day just say, don't care about the news about it. I don't care what's going on with it. I don't care about the damn subtitle of the damn. I just want to see the damn movie. At this point, it's like, oh my. The same thing with the Star Wars stuff. This whole Star Wars crap, and I know the boycott Star Wars Episode 7 thing was a fake or whatever the hell else, but
it was a hoax.
The thing is, it still happened. And it was like, oh.
That's because people were taking advantage of the fact that everybody's swarming over Star Wars.
Well, seriously, who gives a rat's ass if a woman and a black guy are the leads? There are plenty of other films where
the debate was they were saying that Star Wars is prejudiced against
white people.
Yeah, because they have those leads in this movie, which they're acting like there hasn't been, a African American actor in any of these films when you've had James Earl Jones be the most prominent one in that of Darth Vader's voice, and then you have. Despite the fact he's not seen, he's still the most prominent, iconic piece of Star Wars. And then you have
out of the entire franchise between him and Yoda, they are the two most quoted characters, in my personal opinion. Yoda and Darth Vader are the two most quoted characters out of the entire franchise.
Well, and then looking at that alone, I mean, and then you have Mace Windu in the earlier ones, but people were making a big deal because they had. A black stormtrooper, and if people would get their head out of their ass on that part of it, there's the fact that, they may have all been whatever, race that Jango Fett was back in episode 2, but all of those clones by, mid-episode 4, late, maybe mid-episode 5, would all be dead, based on aging alone.
Yeah.
And so... They would all have fresh recruits, which this is 30 years later, so these are all, they could be anything. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, that...
There wasn't a clone army. They're all people now.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, though, it's like...
But I choose not to focus on the...
No, I know, and I choose not to focus on the negative stuff either, but it's just like, it's so shoved down our throats. How can we not at least bring it up? Because it's one of those things where half of today's society, and don't get me wrong, I can be a negative person. I can be, but I try my best not to be. And it's one of those things where 95% of the society today here, at least in America, it's all negative. It's, I said this the other day to somebody. You look at the news when we were kids, or at least when I was a kid, you were barely born yet. You look at 1986, 1987, 1988, all the news broadcasts back then. You had Entertainment Tonight, Hard Copy, A Current Affair, and Inside Edition. You had those four. You had those four things as the entertainment side of news. Very rarely did you ever see an entertainment story on the actual regular local broadcast. You had murder, you had break-ins, you had whatever other crimes you want to say. You had weather, you had sports, and you had politics. And all the entertainment stuff was on those four shows. In today's society, you have a million, even outside of social media, you have a million different things. You have e-news, you have all these wannabe sites popping up, and just, you have the paparazzi sites. And it's like, oh my God, what kind of world are we living in?
The one that the internet created.
Yeah.
Because, if you think about it...
We should have done a better job in 1999, people.
You mean 1996?
Whatever.
But anyways, social media is the reason why.
Yeah.
Because you get all these ill-informed people that are making comments instead of just...
I like to make snarky remarks on Twitter.
Well, there's a difference between snark
but it's
and...
I'll see a story about something like, okay, it's going to sound stupid. Just this morning, before we recorded this podcast, the day before it comes out, I saw on Facebook's trending that Lark Voorhees, who played Lisa Turtle on Saved by the Bell, is getting a divorce from her husband of whatever, 2 years or whatever the hell it was. I don't even know how long they were married. And part of the deeper story was that he supposedly abused her, which is a completely horrible and outrageous thing. Absolutely horrible. Don't get me wrong. But my first thought when I saw the headline of Lark Voorhees getting a divorce, I'm like, oh, Screech, now's your time. There you go. And I make that snide remark. And of course, I comment on my own post saying, if he was physically violent to her, that's the worst thing ever. So, but it's one of those things where nowadays you can't just take anything at face value. Like, you can't just take one link at face. Like, I had to get 3 or 4 different reliable sources to even make sure that she was getting a damn, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. The days of taking stuff at face value have been long gone.
Well, yeah.
Long time.
It's people just need to better fact check is most of it. There was that article even going around that Michael J. Fox was arrested for insider sports betting, which, one, it was a fake article to begin with, and two, it was referencing Back to the Future. Okay. Because in 2015, that's what happened.
Well, see, I know we're going to get to Back to the Future later, but
here's no reason why we can't go to it now.
It doesn't matter to me either way. It's up to you. It's your show. Here's the thing. Everybody on Facebook... Okay, today, when the show releases, it'll be October 23rd. We're recording it October 22nd, 2015. October 21st, 2015 was the day that Marty and Doc went into the future and Back to the Future 2. Okay. So, in that time, he found Gray's Sports Almanac. It says 1950 to 2000. And everybody on Facebook today, on the 22nd of October, is like, hey, Gray's Sports Almanac. Don't, because the Cubs were in the Cubs were on their way to be in the World Series. Unfortunately, the Mets swept them. But it's one of those things where it's like, everybody's like, oh my God, Gray's Sports Almanac. Don't you wish you could know? And I'm like, guys, calm the hell down. It's 15 years outdated. It says 1950 to 2000. It's 15 years late. But Back to the Future Day, a buddy of mine who I used to work at the group home that he was in, he has seen the movies, but apparently he doesn't give a crap. He says they're full of idiocies in the entire Back to the Future franchise.
Who said that?
And hold on. He says that the movies don't make any sense. He says that, he's like, oh my God, Back to the Future Day. What the hell is this? You mean I have to, sit through this all day long? And I'm like, well, it's only one day. It's a once in a lifetime thing. He's like, you mean it doesn't even happen annually? I'm like, no, it's celebrating the 30th anniversary. He just rolled his eyes or whatever he did, and but it's
who said that?
A buddy of mine on Facebook.
Disown him.
Huh?
Disown him.
I should.
Dishonor to you. Dishonor to your cow.
But Back to the Future. It's funny. Originally, I was planning on having the IDW Publishing new 4-issue miniseries comic number 1 issue released on October 21st. Now I have a better plan, which I'll tell you in a minute. But IDW with Bob Gale, John Barber, Eric Burnham. Bob Gale is on top. He's basically guiding them and writing, a few of the stories. Because the way the 4-issue miniseries for Back to the Future, I think I mentioned this last week. I don't know. But the way the comic is going to go is it's split into 2 stories. So one is, and the way they want to do it is different pieces around the timeline. So the very first story is how Marty and Doc actually meet, because we never actually ever see that in the entire trilogy in the films. So we've got the comic. On Back to the Future Day, we had the new DVD release. We had of the 30th anniversary Blu-ray and DVD. We had the release of the DVD, first ever DVD of the animated series. So we had all this Back to the Future stuff on October 21st. And I still love the franchise to this day. I can, I am Darth Vader from planet Vulcan. I can still quote that. Everybody does. Great Scott, this is heavy. It's just a franchise that I remember seeing. I know I was too young. I was 5 years old when the first film came out. By the time 2 and 3 came out, between 89 and 90, or 88 and 89, or whatever it was, I think it was 89 and 90. By the time I was 9 and 10 years old, I had seen all 3 films, obviously, and they're just fun films. They really are. And the fact that it has lasted this long and people still pay, and really this goes towards anything that we're a fan of, but it's one of those things where Back to the Future has touched all of our lives in some sort of way, And sure, a lot of the things that they predicted didn't come true, but everybody's at least homaging everything. There was that Jaws 19 trailer. There was that USA Today front page. Supposedly Nike's putting out the mags. I don't know. Actually, I saw a video where Michael J. Fox is actually trying on the first pair. So that was kind of cool. But what does Back to the Future mean to you?
Well, it's one of my actually all-time favorite film trilogies or films. I mean, because they really all roll into each other. There's not really they're so unlike any other trilogy. They're so directly connected to each other. Like they're almost like a run-on movie that they just had to separate for time. I mean, and it's that good. I mean, I enjoy it, and it took me a lot of years to get to the point where I enjoyed 3. And it's been a long time since we did that M-Wire, and actually we should probably revisit it because it would just be fun to go back.
I see what you did there.
It was kind of an accident.
Yeah.
I really wasn't planning it that way, but it kind of came out that way.
Yeah, we will be going back to the future.
To the future.
Next Saturday night, we're going back to the future.
Miles per hour.
So, okay.
So that being said, they've come out with the, I don't know if you watched the Jimmy Kimmel clip.
I did.
It was hilarious.
It was.
Because you have Back to the Back to the Future. They crash in Jimmy Kimmel's show live in character.
Yep.
And they're dressed like they would be. They're just a lot older, obviously. But
I think Doc
they
needed to
still
get a facelift this time around too.
Well, they still, yeah. I mean, I thought he was supposed to do that in 2015.
Right.
He did in the other one. He's like, my face got, I got a
all
face
kinds of
lift.
work done. Had a little
Yeah.
tuck here and a little nip there, and yeah.
Yeah, but and I think they kept it pretty well going considering Christopher Lloyd's 77 and Michael J. Fox. Like, I think he kept his Parkinson's under pretty good control there.
I think at this point in his life, and obviously I don't know, I'm not a doctor, I'm not his physician, I'm not in his brain, I'm not in Michael J. Fox's life. I think at this point with his Parkinson's, I think he has it very well under control.
He has it very well manned, and despite,
Well, there are times that I've seen him like really I don't want to say this in a bad way, but it's the only word I can think of. There are times where I've seen him have fits, like really bad fits on talk shows or whatever, but it passes. And it's one of those things where sometimes when he spazzes out with it, it's almost, I know Parkinson's is not a speech impediment, but the way that his is, the way that I've seen his, it helps. It looks like a speech impediment when he's trying to talk. The man has just been through so much, and he's given us, as an actor, so much over the years. I mean,
well, and one of the beautiful things about, one of the things that came out of this film really is that the self-tying Nike shoes.
Yeah.
He actually got to try on a pair of those. It's supposed to be the first self-tying, but like he doesn't actually get it on all the way before the minute or so clip is done, and it never actually like self-laces in the video. So like I'm questioning that a little bit, but they're saying they're actually supposed to come out next year. But Nike is going to
it's going to be another
money
auction.
They're going to donate the money. Well, you're going to buy the shoe, but
it's
there's no
going to be
auction
another
on the shoe. It's like a $200 shoe, but that's nothing normal, not out of the ordinary for Nike.
What I'm saying is it's probably going to end up being another auction like the last ones, because the last ones were on eBay, and sorry, that was my ice maker apparently.
I just thought you were doing gunshots in there.
No,
there goes the window. We got air.
The last time Nike did this last year, and they were all auctioned off, and they went for, I mean, obviously all the money's going to go to his foundation. That's fine. I just want to walk. The thing about the video you mentioned is that, yes, we don't actually see the laces move, but I heard the motors. When she was describing the buttons to him, and which one tightens it, which one's you can hear the motors turning. So they did something. They've created something there.
Well, they do have something attached to the back of it slightly, and I think I'm sure that the top part that goes around, the laces, I'm sure that's tightening, self-lacing, but like the strap over the top, I didn't see that move. I think you got to do that yourself. No,
you got to do that yourself.
But still, like, it wasn't close enough to really get a good gauge on it. But still, regardless, that's cooler than hell. And like I said, I really enjoyed the Jimmy Kimmel clip, especially when you got Doc questioning, where are the flying cars? And Jimmy's like, yeah, we haven't gotten that far yet. And he's like, and Marty's like, what about hoverboards? He says, they call them hoverboards, but they really aren't. and then you get to the point where he pulls out his phone and he's like, I got to get a picture of this or whatever. And he's like, great Scott, what is that? And he's like, he says, it's a portable computer. And he says, well, it could be, but we mostly just use it for this. And he took like the word I cannot stand. The self pictures of him with Doc and Marty, which is hilarious. And, I won't deprive anybody from watching, but you should go watch that clip. It's hilarious.
Absolutely.
It was probably, to me, it was a lot better than the Toyota one.
Yeah. Well,
because it was a car commercial, but it was just the actors.
Yeah, the Toyota one was kind of cool because it was more of a fan thing than anything else.
And I didn't say I didn't appreciate it because it is cool.
I mean, the interesting thing about all the Back to the Future stuff, I think for me is, you mean you have to use your hands? That's like a baby's toy. Marty McFly's favorite Nintendo game, Wild Gunman, is now out on the Wii U Virtual Console. So they put Wild Gunman out on the Wii U Virtual Console. I'm sorry. There are certain things, like, unless you have Donald Trump type money, you're never going to have an arcade, you're never going to have a wing of your house filled with arcade games. And I'm sorry, as much as I know you have a Wii.
I have a Wii and I have the 360.
Right. So,
and I have a 2DS.
Right, but what I'm saying is, I know you have a Wii. It's not going to be the same holding that Wii remote and making the gun effects to Wild Gunman unless you actually have the physical arcade cabinet with the physical fake guns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's great that Nintendo did it. It's really awesome, but I just don't think it's going to have the same lasting effect that the actual arcade cabinet of Wild Gunman had in Back to the Future 2.
No, I agree with you. But again, it really matters not to me on that. Like,
no, I know, but it's just another piece of the celebration this year.
Yeah. So,
can we jump back to Star Wars for a second?
Do we really want to?
There's something we missed.
The fact that Luke's not in the trailer?
No.
And everybody's like, "Where's the Luke?"
No. The fact that when the new poster came out, somebody, I don't know who, I wish I knew who, so I give the guy or girl credit that did this. Because of the whole controversy of the woman, the African American being the leads and all that crap, somebody created a poster with nothing but, took the new poster with all the characters, whatever else, and actually inserted all the Jar Jars.
I know. I thought that was pretty neat.
That was hilarious. But the coolest part about that, though, is someone actually took it further and went in a really cool way with it. The Flash Awakens. They took... No, have you seen this image?
No.
You haven't? Oh, my God. I've got to get this for you. But they did the Flash Awakens, but they did it so well. And it looks so friggin' cool. I just absolutely love it. So I'm going to grab this for you in a second. Why don't you tell us your thoughts on the sci-fi Krypton series to connect with Man of Steel, but it's going to be a 200-year young prequel.
Well, I think I'll cover that, but I think we'll take a quick...
So now that we're a member of Blog Talk Radio and have been for a little bit, I'd like to promote a podcast that's actually on Blog Talk Radio that's also filled with geeky discussion and geeky themed games. So they discuss the most pressing topics every week, like what superhero would you like to sleep with, and what would be your weapon of choice to fight zombies. Plus they play geeky games like Character Cage Match, Geeky Accents, and Smitten Superheroes with super fun guests from the worlds of movies, TV, web series, and comics. They have a live show every Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern Time at supergeekedup.com. And they also have it every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio at blogtalkradio.com/supergeekedup. Their latest episode is actually covering Back to the Future Day with time travel themed segments and games and a discussion of the new Star Wars trailer, which is actually what we're covering this week. So be sure to check them out and tell them you heard it on Altered Geek Unleashed.
So... I'm opening up this link right now.
The Speed Force Awakens, that's what it's called.
It's not half bad.
It's damn awesome, because you've got so much in this poster. You've got, not Wells, Stein, you've got Captain Cold, Captain Heat, or Heat Wave, or whatever his name is, Golden Glider, you got Joe West, you got Iris, you got Jay Garrick, you got Barry, you got what I assume is Zoom up in the top left-hand corner, and you got Caitlin kind of in the center being...
Frosted.
Yeah, being Frosted, Killer Frost. The only one I don't really see in here is Cisco, because they've got... Oh, no, there he is. Giant-ass head right under the Flash. Duh. And then in the background, on the right under Barry's left arm, you've got the new female cop chick that's been added in season 2. No, I thought this poster was amazing. I thought that was really cool. It was a nice way to do kind combining the Flash with Star Wars.
It's pretty neat. It's better than the Jar Jar one.
Of course, anything's better than the Jar Jar one.
Yeah, we talked about that in class too. But the consensus is we'd like to see his head on a spike. My thoughts on Krypton are, I think it's kind of neat to show that it's the height of the power, and it's the funny thing is Sci-Fi is actually doing it.
Yeah.
Which is odd to me because it's not a local channel. Like, you have CBS doing Supergirl, you have Fox doing Gotham, you have CW doing Arrow, Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow, which, with Goyer kind of being attached, it makes sense that it's not on any of those stations. But you think it would be on CW, or not CW, but, well, even CW or...
I don't think CBS could fit.
I think Fox would have been a better fit, but being that it's got a lot of sci-fi elements, it does make sense that it'd be on Sci-Fi.
Well, yeah, because here's the thing, probably, and I don't know, I have not read anything about Krypton other than what's in the article that I saw. I didn't even read I just saw that it was taking 200 years before
Man of Steel.
Man of Steel. So here's the thing about Krypton. If it takes 200 years before Man of Steel and before the birth of Kal-El, it's going to be all science-y. It's not a superhero show. It's a science fiction show at this point, in my personal opinion, without really doing any research on it.
My only problem is they're trying to duplicate Gotham, and there really isn't any kind of a mythos like there is with Gotham. Like, there's not like a lot of a large gallery of like back history, as far as I know, with Superman, and other than like Jor-El and Zod, and so like going back further, I don't see the purpose. Now, if they were going to start with Jor-El and Zod and call it Krypton, and then kind of working their way up to Kal-El being born and shipped off planet, then, because it would have a definite start and finish, like, you could tell a lot of stories in between there, but like once it's run its course, like obviously you'd see Kal-El being flown off planet, and then that would be the end. But
right.
or even then, showing him off planet and then saying years later, and then showing like apart from Man of Steel or something at the end. But I just don't see the point in doing Krypton, whereas Gotham made more sense. Like, because Gotham's such a more rich universe compared to pre-Superman. Right. There's a lot more to build on, and I don't see this being relevant for show, but I guess they're treating it, from the article, it says treating it like a historical piece.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to look at like previous cultures on Earth to model what that would be like, but I don't. So what they want is because they're fascinated with it, and the stuff on Krypton, and they want to do the politics, the culture, the art, the different guilds, Cryptopolis, and a lot of different locations, because Krypton has 3 moons, and other metropolises, like Kandor and Argo City and stuff. And then, so I mean, yeah, I understand that, but like, again, I don't see how it's going to play out. I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to watch it. Because, well, there's 2 reasons I'm not going to watch it. 2, I didn't like Man of Steel to begin with, and the fact it connects with Man of Steel turns me off to this.
Right.
The other part of it is it's on Sci-Fi, and I don't get Sci-Fi, and that would mean that I'd have to torrent it, and I already have enough shows I have to do that with, so that's not going on my list. Like, I enjoy the ones I watch as it is. Like, I try and catch them when I can on cable, because I like to watch them when they're on. Right, because a lot of the shows I watch, Mary watches, and she's behind on every freaking show right now.
So you're behind on Flash, you're behind on Arrow, you're behind on Gotham.
I'm not behind on Gotham or Arrow because she doesn't watch them.
Okay.
I'm behind on the Flash because she didn't even watch the previous episode, and I watched the entire thing.
How? So she's on episode 2 and you're on episode 3?
Yeah, I have yet to watch 3, but yeah, that's the consensus there. I haven't even been able to watch Heroes as of tonight because she hasn't watched last week's Heroes, and we watched that together too. So she's like, "Oh, I just plan on binge watching on break," and I'm like, "I'm not binge watching, woman. I'm like, I'm keeping up with it like as we go because like I got to write assignments on it for class. So, but like Once Upon a Time we keep up with, and then there's like the short half-hour shows that are on, but it's a lot harder. Like I've put like Continuum I watched all by myself, and then I put iZombie in a folder for watch later because that's going to be in a mid-season show we watch because it'll be easier for me to explain the last episode of the previous season and then have her watch the entire season in one run.
Right.
Because she doesn't remember anything from week to week. I'm literally having to tell her what's going on. And we watched Supernatural, but like I watched the whole thing last night, and then she watched part of it. So it's, again, she's going to be behind. So I just at this point I'm just watching shows to catch up. But yeah, I have no interest in Krypton whatsoever.
So we're talking about Krypton, and I was on Wikipedia trying to do some research, trying to find an actual TV article. There's a little thing in the comics, like they list Krypton under comics as obviously the planet of the birthplace of Superman, whatever else, and they mention the TV series, but they don't really give any details to it. I didn't actually find a full-on article. But as I'm looking through this, now, two things my entire time, my entire 22 years of living in Louisville, Kentucky, entire 22 years living in the state of Kentucky overall, two things have shocked me. One, there is a Boston, Kentucky. And tonight, there is a Krypton, Kentucky. Krypton, Kentucky. It is in, it's a unincorporated community in the Perry County, Kentucky area. What the hell, people?
I think we should move on to a happier note.
What? I'm happy.
I don't know.
What happy note were you thinking?
I don't know. It's not really all that happy. I was just saying it. Well, it's a couple things with Gotham. I don't know if you're still watching it, but
yeah, I am.
They've name dropped or basically hinted at, not necessarily name dropped, the fact that Azrael and the Order of Saint Dumas will be appearing.
Okay.
They've also revealed that the Gallivan family is really of the Dumas line.
Yeah.
Which is
the
funny because Owls. Well, it's funny because no, the Order of Saint Dumas is completely different than the Court of Owls.
Oh, I thought that's where they were going to go with it, though.
The Order of Saint Dumas is involved in the scheme of revenge against Gotham in general and the Wayne family in particular, because the Waynes wiped them out basically. So, yeah, that's why Azrael and Batman are constantly at odds. Yeah, they're going to do that, and then it's obviously at some point they're probably going to introduce John Paul Valley, which becomes Azrael. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really entirely sure. Theo Gallivan, I'm not entirely sure what his purpose is or who the hell he's actually supposed to be.
Well, he's a descendant of the Dumas family, and he wants to get 200-year-old revenge and whatever else. And I don't know. The thing about Gotham Season 2 is the first 3 or 4 episodes have killed it for me as far as being really, really... I don't want to say great, because it's not... The overall series is not great, but compared to Season 1, Season 2 so far, for me personally, has really kicked ass in the first 3 or 4 or 5 episodes at this point. I love the fact that they brought in Michael Chiklis as the new captain. I thought that was awesome. I don't know how long he's going to stick around, but I hope he's around for a long time. And I actually did see someone, I think it was someone with comicbook.com or Comic Book Resources, I forget who it was. Somebody caught up with Ben McKenzie, who plays Jim Gordon on Gotham, at New York Comic Con this year, earlier this month in October. And they were asking him about the character and whatever else. And now that the new captain is here and So apparently Jim's going to go through a very, very long and hard fall coming up within season 2. And he's like, oh, well, will we ever see this Jim Gordon to be the Jim Gordon we all know and have loved over the years, the actual commission? He's like, I don't know. All I know is that, the fall's going to be pretty hard. So, because with this new captain in Michael Chiklis' character, oh, God, I forget the character name, but Michael Chiklis, he's a kick-ass military-type cop where he wants to basically do everything by the book, And of course, Gotham, the GCPD in Gotham are like, hey, you do this for me, and I'll look away for you, and blah, blah, blah. So everything that Gordon has done, everything that he has compromised during his time on the show in the first season, is going to come back to bite him in the ass, and it's going to drag him down a very dark tunnel, I bet. So far, I'm loving Gotham. I loved how they almost made Barbara Harley. That would have been awesome. If only Jerome had lived a few more episodes.
Yeah, so... And also, one of the families that they mentioned for the... during the 5 original families of Gotham, they mentioned the Crown family, which is tossed into the Court of Owls, and actually the original, descendants of the Graysons.
Yep.
So, I have a good vibes about season 2. Like season 1, I was kind of at points ready to drop it like a bad habit, but
the show had a hard time finding its way. It really did.
But I think that they've really figured out what they're doing now.
Yeah.
Much like they, like the guys that did Arrow did, and of course the Flash was already kind of a well-oiled machine because they'd already figured out how to maneuver the universe. But
the Flash is the best superhero show on right now, in my personal opinion.
I have to agree with you.
Season 4 of Arrow, but so far overall, I know we're only 2 or 3 or 4 episodes into season 2 of Flash. Flash knocked it out of the park in its first season. It really did.
And then I like how they introduce some of the new characters. It's not like entirely bad with how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like Arrow over the last week has, you've gotten Laurel, or not Laurel.
Thea.
No, it's her sister.
Oh.
White Canary.
Yeah, Sarah.
Yeah, they've revived her. They've gotten various other things. Felicity's getting messages from Palmer.
Oh, that's what that was.
Palmer, when the building exploded, got shrunk down with his suit.
Okay, that's what it was.
Because they're building Legends of Tomorrow right now through these 2 shows.
Right.
Because Hawkgirl's in Flash, and Firestorm is in Flash, and Captain Cold and Heatwave are in Flash, and you're going to see probably a mixture of all these different characters kind of fighting throughout Legends of Tomorrow. And it's only a matter of time before Palmer figures out how to bring himself large again.
Yeah. I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on with Felicity's phone this week. I was like, what the hell? And now that you mention that, because I just have a really, I know Arrow Season 3 is on Netflix right now. I don't want to bring the show down or anything. I'm loving Arrow Season 4 at this point. Arrow Season 1, 2, and 4 are amazing at this point for me. Arrow Season 3, it has its moments, but
overall it wasn't very good.
No, and I'm like, wait, Ray's dead? What happened to that? Because I completely blanked out, and I even watched the finale of Season 3 before I watched the first episode of Season 4, and I still blanked out on what the hell happened to Ray.
Well, he was messing around with the ability, the particle that shrinks the
suit. Yeah.
The suit, and it exploded.
Right.
Which is basically what it does. It creates like a nuclear fission type thing, and it self-destructs on itself, but he's able to be, kept intact because of the suit. So, but he wasn't actually in the suit, so I'm wondering if by proximity...
He got shrunk with the suit, yeah.
Well, that and the fact that he's got the nanobots in him.
Yeah.
Which could have taken a while to heal him or rebuild him. So, yeah. I mean, in that regard, I'm happy about that. And then this is Connor Hawke will be making his way to DC Legends of Tomorrow. which is the African American or biracial male who decides to put on the uniform of a missing hero who once stood for justice, basically Green Arrow.
Yeah.
And in the comics, he's actually supposed to be a son of Oliver Queen.
Yeah.
But in this, they're not going to make him that way, so he's just going to be a Legends of Tomorrow kind of.
Oliver Queen's got enough crap going on. The last thing he needs is a son.
Oh, you forget technically it does have one.
No. I know, but I'm saying, like, in the context of the show, the last thing the character of Oliver, I'm not talking about Green Arrow, I'm talking about Oliver Queen, the man. Yeah. The last thing that guy needs right now is a son to come up and complicate everything. Because look at how complicated Bruce Wayne's life is now. Damn. Damien.
Yeah, they've retconned it enough times. They'll go away.
So you have not seen this week's episode of The Flash?
No, unfortunately not. But I do know that they changed Firestorm out. They find another guy to replace Robbie, and they're going to bring him back. And I have a theory about that too.
Okay.
About Robbie, I have a feeling they're going to bring him back as the blue Firestorm that the Doctor was turning into, which is actually a part of the Black Lantern, like death,
right,
type of Firestorm. So I have a feeling that is going to transpire at some point.
I'm just wondering if
either he's going to be, because he's going to be solo, he's going to be an evil blue version of him, which eventually merges with the African American version.
Yeah.
Instead of Stein, like Stein will just be separate, and then they eventually break free of that. I was reading it in the comic lore of DC Comics, so because I was looking up why Stein turned blue.
Right. Yeah.
So I was trying to figure out where that was going to lead, but since they created a new symbiote for him, they've alleviated that, at least for now. So, and there's also alternate universes. So I mean, you could get another version of Ronnie Raymond.
Yep.
And
they introduced that.
And so I mean, it's really interesting, and I'm liking how it's playing out so far. So I haven't watched that episode, but I know because of the previews.
I mean, there's no real spoiler here for that episode. It was pretty much They
were trying to set up a new character to basically fit the role that's going to be in Legends of Tomorrow, because they're really what they're doing right now is they're world building for Legends of Tomorrow.
Right. And The Flash so far, in as many episodes as Season 2 has been great. I'm not going to sit here and say this week's episode was a one-off or a villain of the week. It wasn't. It's tying into everything. But the main crux of it is Captain Cold comes back with Michael friggin' Ironside as his father.
Colonel Cold.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. Is the new Firestorm going to be the same actor that played him in Season 1 of The Flash? I don't know.
You mean the other Amel?
No, not the other Amel. The black guy. I don't know. They went to Jason Rush in Season 1. Felicity did, or Iris did, or something. And I know that I remember hearing the name of Jason Rush being the other Firestorm. So that's why I was wondering if they had gone, if the guy in coming up in the new Firestorm is going to be the same guy.
I don't have a clue.
Yeah,
I don't know enough about that Firestorm because he was created in the last 10 years. So that I do not know. But I guess we'll find out. And I've been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too, which has been pretty decent this season. It's a lot more like gritty military type, which is actually kind of refreshing, because the first season started out kind of like, oh, you don't know what we're doing. We're kind of surrounding the movies, and this is aftermath stuff. And it was kind of discovering why Coulson is back and everything. He was still pretty much Coulson, and then now he's more. It's more of a cross between him and Nick Fury, so it's kind of nice seeing that kind of balance.
Mm-hmm.
It gave him more personality and depth, honestly, because of some of the tragedies that have happened with him. And the Disney and the Lucas-isms, where everybody loses their hand.
Yeah.
Because Coulson did too. It's seriously something Disney's done with like everything since, getting into bed with Lucas for the most part, decades ago. Because like if you look at it, every other thing they've chopped off arms, and even if it was like simulations or whatever, everybody loses a limb.
No, it's not. It's not the same guy. It's gonna be somebody else, I guess, which is fine. Apparently, Jax Jackson maybe is the name of the character. He comes in and
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, Jax Jackson / Firestorm. So, see, I always thought it was the 2004 character, or whatever, is Jason Rush, and I thought, oh, because the character that was in season 1, it was the episode Revenge of the Rogues. I forget if it was Caitlin or Iris or whoever went to this Jason Rush. He was part of Stein's team at the time. I thought, oh, that's going to be the Black Firestorm whenever that happens. And then, oh, wait, no, now we've got this other guy now, which I don't care. I just, you know me, I want that continuity bit, but whatever.
Yeah, so I'm just waiting until they bring in Wally West.
Yeah. I can't wait till Supergirl, though. Supergirl's going to be amazing.
I know, I'm pretty pumped about that.
Yep.
But, yeah, so, kind of jumping away from the superhero bandwagon. YouTube.
You mean RedTube?
Yeah, I saw Neil's comment. He says, low blow, oh wait. Or something along that line. But
what he said was, you just better not. He said, let's just hope no one's naive enough to Google RedTube to find out what RedTube really is, which I'm not naive at all about it. I kind of figured out what the hell he was saying. But go ahead and tell the story, and I'll come up with the comments after.
Yeah. Anyways, YouTube Red. Yeah. That just seems like a terrible name.
Yeah.
It's like you RedTube. I don't know. It's just it's a terrible name.
It is. Yeah.
It should have been YouTube Pro or something like that, because at least that would have just kind of stated exactly what it is. Because really that is what it is. It's a service to provide streaming music and ad-free videos.
Yep.
So, and it's starting October 28th. It's going to be $9.99 per month or $12.99 on iOS devices, which is ridiculous that it's going to be more on an iOS.
Yeah,
and then it says subscribers will be able to watch all YouTube videos, not just music videos, ad-free, save videos to watch offline, and play videos when the app is in the background. As part of the monthly fee, users will also have access to Google Play Music, and inversely, current Google Play Music subscribers will also have access to YouTube Red. This is a YouTube Music app will also launch and be usable without a subscription, although ad-free, offline, and background listening will not be available. It says YouTube Red will also include original programming from entities like College Humor, PewDiePie, and many others, which, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you're really somebody that doesn't want to pay for this stuff, for instance, I don't have to watch ads when I watch YouTube, even now.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you why. Because I'm sure some people are like, yes, tell us, Steve. Tell us how it works. I use Firefox. Reason being, when I'm watching YouTube, I use Firefox, is because in the add-ons category, there's this magical extension that you can install from the Get add-ons. It's called YouTube Ad Block.
Yep.
And if you install YouTube Ad Block, it removes all sorts of advertisement from YouTube. It's a free download, and it takes about 30 extra seconds to wait.
See,
but it's a black screen that you don't have to sit through a 10-minute commercial to watch a video that you're trying to watch.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I have this other thing called Flash Video Downloader, YouTube HD Download 4K, which allows me to download the videos that I'm watching in HD, MP4, FLV. So I can download from YouTube, from Facebook, from any of these other sites, and I can save them for later. And it doesn't cost me a dime on either ends of that, which is, it's about... I mean, I understand them trying to make this into a money pit, because honestly, I think YouTube's losing its ass in revenue because of the sheer amount of people uploading content per minute.
Yeah.
And
okay, let's.
And I get it.
Yeah.
And I would probably pay less than that a month if I was going to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's if I was going to pay for it. I would pay like $5. That's it. Because I paid $9.99 for Netflix. And granted, there's a lot more to watch on YouTube, but there's a lot more crap on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's a lot more people making fake trailers that are clearly clickbait.
Yeah.
And then there's other things in that vein. So I don't see the reasoning to pay $10 when I can get these two extensions for my browser that are free and allow me to do this same exact thing.
Yeah. Well, let's look at this, okay? Let's take a minute here. You got Netflix. Depending on which Netflix subscription you have, you pay varying prices. I just got an email from Netflix saying because I have 2 screens, all streaming, no DVD, whatever, I now pay between now and next October, I will pay $8.99 no matter what. And then as of next October, it's going to go up to $9.99. So you look at Hulu Plus or Hulu or whatever. There's, Hulu, you can go on there, you can get a free account, and you can watch whatever you want, but it's going to be buttloads of ads. The ad-free Hulu account is $11.99 a month. Now, I know you don't care about this one, but a lot of other people might. You look at the WWE and the WWE Network, that's $9.99, okay? And not counting Amazon Instant Video, because that's included with a Prime membership. 'Cause I can't really count Amazon Instant Video because the Prime membership's $100 a year or whatever it is, so I'm not even going to talk about Amazon Instant Video. But you look at Netflix, you look at Hulu, and you look at the WWE Network. All in total, by next year, Netflix, you're going to be paying $10. WWE Network, you pay $10 anyway for the entire, for each month. And Hulu ad-free is $11.99. That is roughly about $32 average, rounding up a little bit for whatever, 99, whatever, you know what I mean? So $32, you get a whole ton of stuff on Netflix. You get a whole ton of stuff on Hulu. Hulu, if you do the ad-free stuff and you have the subscription, you can actually get tonight's episodes tomorrow. So on Wednesday night, when everybody's sitting around their couch watching Arrow, the next morning, whoever has a Hulu Plus subscription, that's the ad-free subscription, bam, right there at 6 a.m. in the morning, whatever, all new Arrow. So, so you're looking at $32, $33 some odd dollars for 3 services right there without YouTube. If you add YouTube in with their new Red thing, it's another $10 for just the general thing. So that's $43. $43. That's roughly the same amount as what a Time Warner cable package costs. So, for me, I would love to have cable in my bedroom to be able to lay down and watch TV in my bedroom. But really, for the amount of TV as I watch nowadays, I'd rather just have various subscriptions to things online. I do not need a YouTube Red subscription. This will be the last thing I say on this. Going to Neil's post when he shared my link here. YouTube becomes RedTube. No, wait, that's not right. And then in the comments, our buddy Doug Abel says, YouTube and RedTube, streaming services where people get screwed. I said, when I first shared this, my comment on my post was, YouTube gushes blood red with ad-free paid service. Neil's like, I'm patiently waiting to see if anyone has a naivete to search Google for RedTube. And I went and searched it. I wasn't naive about it. I went and searched it either way. And I said, my final reply was, RedTube will sue YouTube just like Fire TV tried suing Amazon. And for anyone that doesn't know, who hasn't gotten the joke yet, RedTube and Fire TV are online porn things. So, yeah. But YouTube Red, I just can't, like, I understand, like you said, YouTube is probably bleeding money at this point. Like, I don't know how, outside of the ads that they have on their site and the ads that they put in the videos, I don't know how that company makes any money. Because you have everybody on the planet, as you said, uploading a video like every 10 seconds, every 25 seconds, whatever it is. And the uploads, I could see a lot of people leaving YouTube if they started charging people to upload stuff.
Yeah, I'd leave. But I don't use it for anything but other than watching other people's videos.
Yeah. I don't know. So yeah, that's the YouTube stuff.
I think we'll take a quick break and then come back after that with the comments and close out the show.
Cool.
So we'll be right back.
Welcome to the Wicked Radio Network.
Hey, this is Steve Bloom, and you are listening to the GeekCast Radio Network.
Want to interact with the show? You can contact us in the following ways. You can call the voicemail line 502-526-5821. You can email us feedback@geekcastradio.com. You can visit the episode post on geekcastradio.com or alteredgeek.com. You can get a hold of us on Twitter @AlteredGeek. Look for us every week on geekcastradio.com, of course, Stitcher Smart Radio, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, and alteredgeek.com. And now, back to the show.
And we're back. So we're going to get into the final part of the show, which is the comments. So yeah, the because we were doing all the controversy last week.
Controversy is fun.
Yes. There was a Superfilm Fan 98 was talking about how it was worse of Cosby in the sense of everything he's done, of why, and then Born Standing Up kind of compounds that too and says, the biggest issue with Cosby, he was the guy to tell everyone else what to do or how to act, but was not being a good role model overall.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all secret until, now, but
yeah,
still it doesn't make it right. And then Brad Lincoln mentions...
I'm not trying to extend this here. Don't get me wrong, folks. I understand what Cosby did was completely monstrous. But as I said last week, I can still watch The Cosby Show and get the values out of the show. But anyway, go on.
But, caught me putting food in my mouth.
You're not supposed to be eating on a podcast. That's podcasting 101.
Yeah, I know. I was hungry, but you were talking, so. Yeah, I'm eating these holiday sugar cookies. Yes, they're from last Christmas. My wife bought up all the boxes last Christmas, and we still have like 12 boxes left downstairs.
Some.
So they're still good. They're not actually, they're still fresh.
That's what I said. Mail me some, damn it.
Shaped like all the different Christmas stuff with little sprinkles on them. So Brad Lincoln brings up Jeff Dunham's show getting canceled because it had awful ratings and was awful, which admittedly was true. I would say that primarily it got kicked off the air because of things like that, and it wasn't very well written. It wasn't actually that good.
Right.
His stand-up videos are actually better.
Well, yeah.
And
that's really all I pay attention to Jeff Dunham for is his stand-up specials. I knew about the Jeff Dunham show, but I didn't actually see it until it hit Netflix at one point or another. And I saw the guy in 2009. I saw him live. I find the guy somewhat funny. He makes fun of everybody. I mean, he before he retired Sweet Daddy D, which was his African American character, he was sitting there making fun of white people. I mean, it's not. I don't know. Whatever. I don't want to even get into the whole thing with Jeff Donnelly.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I know what I like,
part.
and I know what I don't like. That's the point.
Yeah, I wasn't jumping into that point of it.
No, I know, but I'm just trying to not suffer from heat stroke in this damn apartment. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, everybody, Mike's a little cranky. He's got no air conditioning because apartment complexes.
Because the HUD, it's not even the apartment complex, it's the HUD rules that are stupid.
And they have a boiler system, so they have to be switched over at a certain time of year. Kind of like the place I work. They switch over at a certain point in year, and then, it's just, yeah. So, anyhow, that about rounds out the comments. So if there's anything you guys would like to ask, feel free. We do have... I'd actually be curious to hear what everybody thought of the Back to the Future Days celebrations and the Star Wars trailers, since those were like the two biggest events this week.
Yep.
I was not very impressed with the Star Wars trailer the first time I saw it. And I'm still not like overtly like impressed with it, because I would have liked to have seen Luke.
Yeah.
Even if it was like briefly. I know that we've heard his voice in the first teaser, but like I still like it was still a letdown for me
because like, okay, we've talked about this before in the 2-year history of this podcast. When trailers go too spoilery or not spoilery enough.
Well, you know he's in it. I just want to see his
know,
face.
But I don't see. That's the thing. Like, I don't want to, because I want to be able to go to the theater if I can get tickets at this point. You know, I'd like to be able to go to the theater, go into that movie fresh, knowing that, okay, this is a fresh cast. Yes, Han is there, Leia's there somewhere, but what, you know, yeah, Chewie's there, whatever, and be surprised when Luke eventually shows up. Like, it's one thing that I didn't need to see Luke in the trailer. As long as I saw that shot of the Millennium Falcon going through ridiculous speed, I was happy, because
ludicrous speed.
Yeah, ludicrous speed too. Because that shot in the trailer of the Millennium Falcon with the blue and the hyperspace, that was just amazing. I love that.
Totally agree. So, yeah. So is there anything you'd like to pip out before we go?
Excuse me. Heat exhaustion is making me tired. I'm getting tired from heat exhaustion. Yay.
If Mike doesn't wake up in the morning and you find him in an emergency room, that's why.
Emergency contact, Stephen C. Phillips. Anyway, there's not much I can do 4 or 5 states away. Anyway, the pull bag is coming back. We're going to have a special, we're going to have a Halloween type episode this coming week on October 28th for episode 113 of the pull bag. It's going to be a Halloween type episode, I say, because in it, Nicole Hailstorm and I review Mars Attacks Popeye, which I thought was going to be a lot scarier than funny than what it was and whatever. And then Jeremy Fine and I are going to cover the other IDW miniseries dealing with Puppet Angel, where Angel is wearing masks. It's a series of a few stories from the Angel Buffy verse from Joss Whedon. So that's going on with the pull bag. And then the following week, after Halloween, we're going to have a special Thursday edition of the pull bag, since we have no current podcast on the GCRN airing on Thursdays. November 12th, 2015 marks 60 years since Doc Brown first invented the flux capacitor. Yes, that's right. November 12th, 1955 was the day that Doc Brown invented the flux capacitor for allowing the DeLorean to time travel. So I thought it'd be, since I missed the Back to the Future Day, October 21st thing, I figured, oh, well, there's another day coming up. Might as well do that. So is it the 12th or the 5th? I don't know. It's either the 5th or the 12th. I forget, folks. Anyway.
Yes.
But that's what's coming up with the pull bag. I'm still trying to get remote control controlled a little bit more. We may or may not have a Halloween episode for the for Tooncast Beyond, reviewing Gravity Falls Season 1. Not sure on that yet. But, yep, that's what's coming up.
As for myself, I'll probably still be tweaking the website. I'll be probably... we're going to record the inaugural episode of my wife's podcast, Fit, Ready, Go. Should be interesting. Her first podcast. She's like in prep for it because I still have to write up a few questions to kind of ask her to kind of push her through the episode. Because she's like, I don't even know what to talk about. She's like, what do you guys talk about? I says, if you listen to a podcast once in a while, I said, you know. And she's like, ha ha ha. She says, I listened to 5 minutes of one, and like I says, yeah, which one did you listen to? I'm like, first 5 minutes we usually BS about what's going on. I sincerely doubt she's listened to 5 minutes. But that being said, it should be fun talking her through that. And I think it'll be very informative for people looking for improved health and that are health geeks and, just self-betterment in general. I know I could use it to some degree because I'm a lazy MFer. And I eat like a horse.
Oh. Don't even go there.
No, I wasn't going to.
No. Don't even go there.
You be quiet and listen to me first.
You're what, 28, 29, somewhere around there?
I'm 29. I don't gain weight, but my insides, I'm pretty sure, is like...
Right. Okay. You're 29 years old. You're how tall?
5'11".
5'11". And you're about what, 100 and something, 200 and something? No, you're not 200. You're probably like 150 wet.
164.
Okay, so...
I've gained 6 pounds since the kid was born.
You have no right to complain about gaining 6 pounds because you are a machine when it comes to food. I am 35 years old, 6'1". I'm 390 last time I weighed myself. And even though I only graze throughout the day, I don't eat like a lot of stuff. I just eat when I'm hungry. I still can't lose. I worked my ass off taking care of my mom for 3 years, taking the dog out 4 or 5 times. I got more exercise in 3 years than I have in my entire life. And I still, in 1 year that I was going to the doctor's office in 1 year I lost 20 pounds over the entire year. So you complaining about being able to not gain weight or being able to eat whatever the hell you want and not worry about it, oh, screw you, buddy.
It's all right. I'll have dentures in 10 years.
What makes you think I don't have them now?
I'll just point and laugh. Put your freaking teeth in a jar. That's like an inside gag with me and my wife, because she's always like, go brush my teeth, and I says, as soon as yours fall out and you can put them in a glass jar, I says, I will. Really bad joke, but anyways, so yeah, that's pretty much all that's going on. I'm going to be editing the short film for the final time with the teacher this week, having it looked over, and then going to go from there, and we're going to get it prepped for the music department, and they'll score it, and then after that I'll have to edit it back in, and then we'll be all good to go. So can't wait for that.
Absolutely. And yes, I was wrong. It's not November 12th. It's November 5th, 1955. Why does that day sound? Oh, that's right. So Thursday, November 5th, 2015, we will air our review of Back to the Future #1 from IDW, celebrating 60 years since Doc Brown invented the flux capacitor. Sorry. I just had to make sure I was correct on it or not.
No, that's fine.
Come on. As many things as I say out of left field, I think with this current situation that I'm going through, you can give me a little bit of credit here.
When you learn how to go 88 miles per hour, go back to the future and fix the past, then you can say whatever the hell you want.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious shit.
Speaking of serious shit, did you see the... this is the last thing I'm bringing up, but it's the Michigan State Police.
No, I didn't see that. What happened?
They made their own meme.
Oh, no.
The Michigan State Police, it says, have stopped a silver DeLorean going 88 miles per hour because Back to the Future. The report was released via Facebook. Michigan State Police troopers stopped a silver DeLorean today for going 88 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone. The two occupants, Dr. Emmett Brown and Marty McFly, were given a verbal warning to drive more safely on Michigan roads. Dr. Emmett Brown responded by saying, "Roads, where are we going? We don't need roads."
Okay,
they made it, and it says, and it's got a picture of a state trooper car behind a DeLorean with the doors up. And it's got a cop like clocking it at 88, and it says, "The Michigan State Police wishes everybody a happy and safe Back to the Future day." Which, to me, this is just purely priceless.
Yeah, that is kind of awesome. You know, I mentioned earlier about the Flash and Star Wars mashup. There was another. This wasn't a mashup, but there was something else with Back to the Future Day that that I actually made a Ace Ventura joke with. Here we go. Here it is. There was a picture shared by, I don't know, some Facebook page that I shared it from, and it's a meme. It says, "It seemed the future looked so positive," and it's a picture of the almost, as the DeLoreans. I just put it in the Skype for you. As the DeLoreans hovering up and the wheels are turning in, and a car to the bottom, and it says, "But it turned out all negative." And the car has the wheels turning out, and all I can think of is friggin' Einhorn. It was laces out! Okay, we can close the show now.
At least you had good taste in picking your joke from the right movie.
Well, yeah, it's not like I'm going to go to Bat Guano after all. When nature calls, a movie can die in a fire.
Somebody took a picture of, what's his face? Can't remember. Anyways, I can't remember his name, but he did, Steve Buscemi, he did the cross-eyed thing in Deeds.
Yeah.
And they have a picture of a car, like the red car with the wheels out like that. It says, "Did the alignment myself."
Oh, God.
For the tires being bowed out like that.
Oh, my God, that's hilarious.
People are hilarious with this stuff. We need to close this show out, or we're going to be looking at memes the rest of the night. So,
we just have an entire show on memes.
We should. So if anybody's got some of their favorites, then go ahead and send those in, because we'll cover that. I will say, as a tease for next week's show, we do have a guest interview next week.
Yep. Very awesome.
It's by the creator of Dragon Fruit, which I guess you'll just have to check the podcast to find out what that's about.
It's a dragon, and he eats fruit.
It's a fruity dragon? Yeah. Like Fruity Pebbles?
Oh, God. I got to rework the M-Wire schedule because we got to review Dragonheart. I love Sean Connery as that damn dragon. That is so awesome. Okay, you got to close the show because I'm just going to go off the rails after this. And I know
Mike's going to go on nerd tangents.
Yeah, I know how much hate when the show goes off the rails.
So yeah, that's what we'll be covering next week, among other things. So until next time, get Altered Geeky with the Altered Geeks.